All right, Shalom. It's your brother Quashab coming back at you with another lesson. Before I get started, I want to give our praises, glory, and infinite honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, and the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me the truth, and Ruel, and peace, blessings, and salutations be to those elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel and me and endure to the end, Lord willing. All right, and excuse me, and I just want to get into should be a straight to the point lesson. All right, just going into the word oikomeni. All right, and just to show that this charagma will be implemented across the face of the planet Earth. All right, because as I read the scriptures, Revelation chapter 3 verse 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, and we understand that the ones who's going to keep the word of the patience, all right, the ones that are the same ones that are holding fast to that which thou hast, all right, which is this truth, all right, the scriptures, all right, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, all right. Those are going to be the ones that keep their patience, man. Keep the word of their patience, keep the words of Yahweh Shai, all right, and hold them dear, all right. And ultimately these men, all right, even the mixed the numerable multitude, all right, that consists of the elect men, women, and children, all right, they will be tried, okay, with this charagma, man, all right. But the Lord said he's going to keep us in those times, But I want to get into this word, all right, world, all right. I'm just going to a couple of little things, and I wanted to kind of dive into yesterday, but, still kind of under the weather, but, Lord willing is edifying, all right. Now this is the word world.
Strong's G 3625 oikumene.
All right, oikomeni. It says the inhabited earth, right? The portion of earth inhabited by the Greeks in distinction from the lands of the barbarians, the Roman Empire, right? And it's the point. It says the whole inhabited earth, the world, the universe, the world, the inhabitants of the earth, men, you see? So this charagma is going to be made mandatory to test all of the people, all right, that's dwelling on the planet Earth, man. And it's not for shits and giggles either, because some believe, that, it's not the charagma or what can restrict you from buying and selling, all right, across the whole face of the planet Earth, man. A charagma, which is the RFID micro C-Hub, man, all right. Brothers and different elders and apostles don't go into all of these lessons, for nothing. Let's just show you the devices of Satan, man. All right, and he's gonna come with whatever he can come with to deceive you, all right, into taking it, all right. And you best believe, this devil's gonna make it seem good. He's gonna make it look good, all right. But when he can't do that, he's just gonna what? He's just gonna make it mandatory. All right, just like as he did with the jump shot, right? The jab, man. All right, he was giving out donuts, right? Free lap dances, free food. All right, as long as you take the jab, right? But what happened when, they didn't hit their mark of people that they didn't that wasn't, didn't want to get it anymore? They just started cutting you off from society, man. You can't go here, right? You can't go to this gym. You can't go to this restaurant, right? You can't go to this place, Well, that's the same thing they're going to do with the charagma, man, all right? And this is going to happen across the entire globe, all all right? The whole inhabited earth, all right? So let's go. I'm gonna let a little bit of this video play, all right? Because, you know, we know as a precursor to the M.O.T.B, there's steps that has to be initiated, all right, before they actually initiate the M.O.T.B, all right? And it's looking like it's gonna be in the form of a digital ID, all right? Down here in Louisiana, you know, different states, you have something called the real ID, you know, that, you know, is mandatory. You know, I don't think you can fly so if you don't have one, you know. I don't think you can fly without it, all right? So, hey, man, you know, time is winding down, all right? The time is short, okay? And now, you know, in order to buy, if you buy a new phone in Russia, all right, this thing, I'll let the dude say it, you know.
Pirate Nation on X says Russia is testing a...
You know, he went into this on this lesson, you know, but I was already queuing up a lesson going into it, you know, with the article that the brother actually put in the WhatsApp, you know.
State-backed digital ID within Max, a VK super app pre-installed on new phones. You thought the UK was bad. Shit, you thought North Korea was bad. We now have Russia testing state-backed digital ID pre-installed on every phone.
Hey, you can't forget about over there in Vietnam. I believe that was last week. They froze, I believe it was like 86 million people bank accounts. You know, I'm gonna have to find that real quick. I'm gonna come back to this. All right, I'm gonna read this article so I can find that. All right, it says, what is the plan for digital IDs and will they be mandatory? The government has announced plans to introduce a digital ID system across the UK, with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer saying it will ensure the country's borders are more secure. All right, and they're doing the same thing here in the U.S. All right, they got some kind of migration or immigration crisis, you know, out there in the UK. You know, we all know, you know, this is the plans of the elite, man. All right, these are the plans of the wicked elite. You know, to push forward this agenda, you know, in order to bring a new order, or push forward chaos, all right, in order to bring a new order. You see, they say, oh, this is gonna help migration. You know, they even said one article I did a lesson on maybe the last year sometime about them, you know, even, oh, you can put the chips in your children, so you don't gotta worry about your children being stolen. You know, it's crazy, man. All right, all kind of vices that, you know, this damn devil is getting ready to come out with, man. You know, but it says the IDs will not have to be carried day to day, but they will be compulsory for anyone wanting to work. So why do you need a digital ID in order to go to work? You know, what the hell that got to do with anything, right? But it says the government says the scheme will be rolled out by the end of Parliament, meaning before the next general election, which by law must be held no later than August 29th. All right, and you know, Lord willing, you know, this thing gonna go down before that. All right, because that scripture tell you in Job, you know, he's about to fill his belly. You know, he's in the midst of accomplishing this thing. The Most High is gonna rain upon him, you know, the wrath, man. Roughly paraphrasing, you know. It says, why is the government introducing digital IDs? The digital IDs will be used to prove a person's right to live and work in the UK. So if you can prove that this person can live and work there, well, what else can you do with that? Right? They will take the form of an app-based system stored on smartphones in a similar way to the NHS app, whatever that is, or digital bank cards. You see? So it's gonna work the same way as your digital banking cards, right? And it's just gonna, I mean, I don't know how people just can't see this, right? You know, you have a digital, you know, like on your phone, right? I can click one button twice, all right? My debit card will pop up to where I can scan it and pay, all right? So how much more, you know, a wallet, okay, a digital wallet itself, right? And what's that? You are going to become the wallet. Okay, all of these things, this information is being put into the system. All right, and what the system is going to do, it's just going to implement it onto a radio frequency identification chip. All right, because that's all the RFID stands for, is radio frequency. All right, and all of this information is just going to be embedded on the actual chip, man. All right, and like I said, you will become the ID. All right, it says information on the holder's residency status, name, date of birth, nationality, and photo will be included. So why do, you know what? Go ahead. All right. Let me see. You know, that's cool. All right, I wanted to search up this Vietnam thing, right, just to make sure I'm right on what I'm talking about. I think it was 86. I know it was on redacted. All right. Why did they do that? Just bear with me 1 second. So 1 second, Salakia. Yep. So it says on September 1st, just an AI overview. The State Bank of Vietnam began closing or deactivating over 86 million bank accounts that had not complied with a new national biometric verification law. All right. Well, why does everything have to be biometric now? Right? Why does everything have to be online? Right? Why does it have to be a system? You see? All right. This is what I mean when I say the whole world. All right, the Oikominity. All right, you have this thing going on in Vietnam, the UK, Russia, all at once. You know, and we know that things are done in other places before it's actually done here in the US, right? Simply because of the right to bear arms, right? And once this thing goes, and it's the chief city of Edom, all right, these elites, all right, this corporation America is the elite's #1 system. Well, it really hasn't been a great use as of lately, right? So they're gonna phase this thing out, man. All right, through the will, all right, through the spirit and power, how about Shemal Shai, all right, if you know what I mean. All right. Now it says the measure part of the government's Project 06 Digital Identity Initiative was framed as a system cleanup to combat financial fraud and cybercrime, right? And here we go again, all right? Another vice that Esau Edom is using, all right, to bring forth, you know, his new system, man, his digital system, all right? Now, I'm not going to get into all of these points and stuff because I didn't really read this before the lesson. But there's a good point right here. It says why the accounts were frozen. The massive closure targeted inactive and unverified accounts that had not been updated with biometric data, such as fingerprints or facial scans, linked to the new national digital ID. All right. So people, you know, might have a lot of people are old school, right? And they just go to the bank. You know, they don't use the facial recognition, the thumbprint things, different technologies that we got, you know, how a so-called younger person will use, you know. So, well, you got to come get verified, all right, before you can use your bank, right? And that's what, you know, and that's what they say, right? Who knows what's the real reason as well, right? But, no, that's cool. This, I'm going to let this play, all right? Just wanted to get that out the way.
Phone being sold to people. Users link passports or biometrics to obtain a QR code as official ID, enabling access to payments, healthcare, and fines. Wow. And then
Right, so you have access to payments, healthcare, and fines. Well, what does that sound like? How do you make a ID, all right? How do you make that into something that you can pay with? You know, your healthcare and everything else. You know, how do you do that? By what? Radio frequency, man. All right, you gotta have it all on the web. Make sure it's good and working, and we can just transfer the system over to everybody. Just have to have these chips now. All right. It's gonna be easy for them to transfer it over once they enforce it, right? When they say, "Oh, everybody in America gotta have a digital ID," hey man, you're gonna have to go get a digital ID. You know, all the money is gonna eventually be digital, right? As your boy Cotton Swab said, you know, China is the model for the rest of the world. Okay, and look at what they have set up over there. Right? You go into the social credit system, you know. Well, they want to make the rest of the world this way so they can track, all right, and tell you what and what you cannot do. Like I said, this devil has a God complex, man. He wants to be as the Most High, pursuing the Ezekiel 28 chapter, all right, as well as 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, you know.
Saw this from Reclaim the Net when I started searching deeper on it, and they link their story here. Russia pilots state-linked digital ID through Max app, which I gotta be honest, this is scary, but expected out of Russia. But isn't it wild that this is what we're dealing with the free world is battling against this kind of stuff. This is breaking on September 30th, 2025. Russia pilots state-linked digital ID through Max app, a digital passport wrapped in a social feed. Max turns state surveillance into a lifestyle app. Governments around the world are increasingly turning to digital ID systems, which again, before I even go further on this, do you notice the massive worldwide effort together as one pushing for this? And it's got to make you wonder, why is that? Russia is the latest example of how these tools can be tied directly to state control. The country has begun testing a digital identification feature inside Max, a messaging platform created by VK or Vkontakte and tightly aligned with the government, which I know should shock you all. This is what it's referencing when it says that. Russia pushes state-backed messaging app, Max, as it moves to ban WhatsApp. So Russia wants to know what you're saying to everyone. They don't want someone else to be able to do that because they want to control what you're saying. WhatsApp's potential exit marks another milestone in Russia's quiet war to nationalize the internet, one app at a time. But back to this one. The app is being built as an all-in-one hub offering communication, payments, government portals, and commercial services in a model echoing China's WeChat. The Ministry of Digital Development, Communications, and Mass Media is overseeing the pilot, which started last week, according to Izvestia. Adults who want to activate this feature must link their Max account to GoSuslugi, Russia's state services portal. I'm at a loss for words with this. Verification requires either biometric data stored in the unified biometric system or a...
You see? And that's what they want, man. All right, they want all your information in the system. You see? So that when this thing is switched over, all right, it'll be an easy transition for them, you know. But, you know, I'm not gonna, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to get to on this point, all right? So, like I said, man, you know, this thing is definitely gonna come down real soon. You know, we can see it happening, especially here in the U.S. You have these other nations following suit, you know. So, and you know, we can see it's gonna happen. As the scripture said, it'll be fulfilled, you know, coming upon all of them that dwell in the earth, all right, the whole world, right? So, you know, Lord willing, it was edified, man. So until next time, I say shalom.